All right. Everybody has got a crazy relationship story. This is mine. Welcome in to another episode of the Story Lesson Advice Podcast, part of Saturday is Dadderday Media. Thank you very much for all the support, for everybody listening, for everybody checking out my Instagram account at Saturday is Dadderday Media and my YouTube page at Saturday is Dadderday Media. And I'd encourage you to also check out, if you have time and you're bored, my website, sidmedia.net, where I have weekly blogs going up, also links to all the podcasts, all the videos. And I will be releasing another podcast that's going to be a book review podcast coming up just after the holidays, as well as I'll be putting some more videos on my YouTube page that are going to be more culinary focused, more product review focused, and just trying to provide some more good information out there. So, as I said, everybody's got that one crazy relationship story, and this is mine. So before I met my wife, I was single, surprise, surprise, and I met, this was a couple of years before I met my wife, and I met a girl, a woman that I just began dating. And I was probably 27, maybe 28. And we started dating. She was everything wrong that I was looking for in a woman at the time. And the things that she represented to me are not bad in and of themselves, but my association with them and my lustful association with all the kinds of things, the hair, the makeup, the date nights, all that kind of stuff. The way that was positioned in my mind is what led me down a path that almost ruined my life. So we started dating, and like I said, it was all the things that I had wanted for all the wrong reasons. And a couple months into dating, I had gone over to her apartment while she was working at night and texted her, hey, I'm going to go over or whatever. And went over there, and I was going to just kind of get her place ready because I think she had to get up early in the morning for work or something like that. So I was just trying to be helpful and nice and whatever. So I cleaned up her apartment a little bit, put this away, put that away, and went to get her bedroom ready, pulled the sheets and comforter back on her bed, like you would have it ready. So if you got in bed, you could pull your covers under, up and go to bed. And as I pulled the covers off, lo and behold, was a used condom that was not mine. And boy, when you are not expecting something like that and you see that, the range of emotions and everything that goes on is just bonkers. And I don't even remember how I felt and all the stuff other than it was just, overwhelming and sad and frustrating and confused and like, what is going on? So I was smart enough to figure out okay, this isn't mine and something's not right here. So I waited until she got home and I confronted her about it right away. And as soon as I did, you could see the look on her face. She was caught. And she was in just preservation mode, and she was thinking, and the best thing that she came up with was that was my roommate's. She brought a guy home the other night and they had been drinking too much, and they used my bedroom because they thought she was so drunk that she thought it was her own bedroom. And I, yeah, right, not buying it. Adios. But there was still a part of me that wanted to. So she pleaded and begged with me, I promise that's not mine. It was my roommate's. I promise, I promise, I promise. And because I was so reluctant to want to give up what I thought I had or what I thought that I had finally chased down in the form of, what I said, the hair, the makeup, the date nights, the, whatever all of that kind of, represented to me at the time. I was so reluctant to give that up, and I was playing aggressive defense on myself from just seeing the plain and obvious truth that I believed her. And I didn't believe her, but I forced myself to kind of believe her. So I went home and, just beside myself, called every single one of my friends, told them the whole story, and every single one of them said the same thing. She's full of shit, and run, don't walk, run to get out of this relationship. And what did I do? Like any good friend who calls all their friends asking for advice, I promptly did not take it at first. I wanted to try to hold on to this, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I was like, look, we both know the truth here, and this is over. And it was, it took me almost a month after that happened to get to the point where I was convinced myself that it was okay. And I don't even remember how I handled it, although I don't think I handled the breakup like in a clean, quick manner. I think I was still just living in this fog of not wanting to let go or whatever. But finally, made the break, done and over with. So, I don't know, a couple of weeks went by, and all of a sudden, she shows up at my door and tells me I'm pregnant and it's yours. And of course, that freaked me the hell out, which is, when you think you're out of something and you think you dodged a bullet, and then to get roped back into it, just completely freaked me out. So I told her to get lost and that she was lying. And I woke up in the morning to my car being completely keyed all the way down the side. But I was freaked out that she was pregnant and that my life was going to be changed forever because of this. So I didn't know what to do. This was just completely overwhelming to me. So I flew up back home and told my parents everything. They were pissed, but they were good parents about it. And, I remember my dad right away was like, nope, she's lying. Nope. Now, she could have not been lying. But my parents, I guess, could see what I couldn't see, which was that I was just getting the runaround from this woman. So I came back and I'm not sure if I talked to her maybe once more or something, but never heard from her again after that. And she just said that to do exactly what I did, which was freak out and panic and get a reaction out of me. But I never saw her again after that and moved on with my life and could not have been happier that things did not work out. And looking back on that, man, when you go through something like that, when you're in it, it is just all consuming. It just takes years off your life. And everybody has one of those crazy relationship stories. This one is mine, and I have one hell of a lesson to go along with it. All right, now it's time for this week's sponsor, I Wish I Had. And this week's sponsor, I Wish I Had, is what I'm actually wearing right now. For those of you who are watching on YouTube or seeing this clip on Instagram, you can see this totally amazing, sexy, unbelievably cool, the greatest thing in the world bomber jacket by Claim to Fame. And I totally stumbled across this brand on Instagram 4 months ago, and immediately was like, okay, I see you. I like it. And I kept coming back to it. And I was looking as I get, older now. I'm 42, going to be 43 in the spring. And, every guy kind of went through the button-down phase, right, where you just sort of wear button-down with jeans, and that's it. And before that, you went through the graphic tee phase where everybody has a graphic T-shirt on. And I was kind of looking for what's kind of a look that I can wear going forward as I get a little bit older, that I can pair with a variety of different things that can work for, meeting with, coworkers, that can be a date night, that can be family pictures, which you might have seen that I have another jacket like this from Claim to Fame. But this is 100% one of the best products that I've ever purchased. This is a look that I absolutely love. Just a t-shirt with a bomber jacket like this. It is incredibly lightweight. The fabric is super soft. It drapes very, very well all over my body. That's kind of gross, but it really does. It drapes well. It rests well. It's super lightweight. It's warm, but it's breathable. It looks great with a pair of jeans, with a pair of chinos. You can wear it kind of any way that you want. I have it just with a solid color t-shirt underneath it, but these are bomber jackets from Claim to Fame, and they are forever going to be in my wardrobe. And something else that went above and beyond is I actually bought 2 of these, and I was trying to figure out which size was going to be the best for me, and I was able to return the product for free. And when I did that, the owner followed up with me and said, hey, if you'd like, these were buy one, get one 50% off. why don't you, if you want, I'll extend you the 50% off and you can switch this out for another jacket, another color if you want it. And the owner's name is Tom, and couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more helpful. And this is the second jacket. It's like a charcoal gray with black. And this color was more expensive than the other one. I didn't realize that. And before I could even realize that and apologize and try to find another one, he agreed to honor the lower price that I had bought the first jacket for and swap me out at 50%. So I got, even a double deal just because of how helpful he was and how nice he was. So when you have a great product and you go above and beyond for your customers when you don't have to me, that speaks volumes about the type of company you are and the type of people that you have in your company. So this week's sponsor I wish I had is Claim to Fame and their bomber jackets. They also have other products like shirts and pants, but these bomber jackets are really awesome. I have 2 of them, and I will probably be getting a third for Christmas as soon as I finish writing the list. So this week's sponsor I wish I had, Claim to Fame bomber jackets. All right, so I went through this whole crazy story that everybody's got something like this with one of their ex-boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. This was mine. It almost ended in something that really would have had a negative impact on my life if I would have had to have been tied to that person for the rest of my life in some way, shape, or form. Thankfully, it didn't, and here I am today, hopefully a better person because of it. The main lesson for me that I took away from that is that I spent so much time in my life living for the approval of others. I spent so much time of my life trying to impress someone, trying to get a positive feedback reaction out of someone. And when you focus your energy and your effort on doing something or being something or saying something in order to get a positive response, as opposed to just doing or saying or being just because that is what you are, that is what you want to do, when you have the wrong reason, it's not hard to understand that you can dance a very fine line that is dangerous at times. And that's what I did. And I was so worried about trying to find someone that would give me all the positive reinforcements that I wanted and would play into my ego and my vices and tell me all the things I wanted to hear and be all the things that I wanted and say all the things and do all the things, that I was so blind because I was getting all of that feedback that was positive, that was just pumping up my ego and giving me all those things, that I was so obvious that this person that I was with was cheating on me from basically the beginning. And what I ended up finding out was I was the person that she was using to be the one who cheated with her. So she already had a boyfriend, and they were living together, and I think they took a break or something. So I was the second guy. I had no idea that this even existed, but because of all of how much blinded I was, because of all the things that I was thinking that I was getting from this experience, which wasn't meaningful, wasn't real. It was just self-serving. But I was so blinded by that that I didn't realize that, I was the guy that was just getting used. And boy, it almost cost me dearly. And when you think about all the different ways that something like that can cost you dearly, it really starts to put into perspective that when you live your life and when you do things for the approval of others, so for the wrong reason, but especially for the approval or the validation or the justification of others, when you do that, you are walking such a dangerous line. And if you're not careful, some really, really bad stuff can happen. And it almost did to me. All right, in this week's Just the Tip, I am going to give you a cooking tip that should help you around the holidays or even as the months are colder and you just want to do something fun in the kitchen. So this week's Just the Tip is going to be about if you would like to make some version of your own fruit, jam, jelly, compote, whatever you want to call it in a very loose, broad culinary term. I know all those specifically are different things, but just for the average home cook, this is what I would suggest you do. Pick your favorite fruit or berry. So it's wintertime, so maybe something like apples would be really good. I love doing this with strawberries. You could do it with cranberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, whatever you want. You're going to take a set amount of that. So whatever it is, whether it's a pound or 2 pounds or whatever. And the more precise you can be on weighing this with a scale, the better it's going to be. So if you have a scale that can do this in grams, or the more specific the number can be on a scale, the better is going to be for this. So let's say you take 100 grams, which is a small amount, but just for easy math, you take 100 grams of a fruit. You're going to take 30% of that weight and add that amount of sugar to it. So if you have 100 grams, 30% of 100 is 30. So you're going to take 30 grams of sugar. So you have 100 grams of fruit, 30 grams of sugar, and you put that on a stove with some salt, and you're going to probably need to add a little acid like lemon juice or maybe some apple cider vinegar if you're doing apples, something like that. And you're going to cook that and simmer that down, stirring enough so the sugar doesn't burn. And what you're going to end up seeing is that's going to turn into just the most delicious fruit yumminess that you've ever had. And if you want, you can jar it for later to preserve it. You can freeze it. You can just gobble it up, do whatever you want. But that will go great on toast in the morning. It will go great on ice cream in the evening. It will go great with a spoon right in your pie hole, whatever you want. So that is a very simple thing. It's a kind of a rough, back of the napkin recipe, but take your fruit and then take 30% of that weight in sugar, put the two together, add some acid, add some salt, stir, heat on, medium, low heat, until it cooks down to be the consistency that you want. And it's going to be a really simple, amazing thing. The only bonus, just the tip I would give you, is sugar and fruit, when it's hot like that, turns into lava. So be very careful not to get any on your skin. If you have kids around in the kitchen and they're going to help you, be very, very careful so nobody has any severe burns, or you don't want stuff splattering, God forbid, something like that gets in your eye or anything like that. So just be very careful with that. But no need to be scared. Just be mindful of that. So that is this week's Just the Tip. All right. So we talked about the crazy batshit story of my ex-girlfriend having a used condom on her bed that wasn't mine, lying to me about being pregnant, keying my car up one side, down the other, and then never hearing from her again. So that's a pretty wild story. The lesson I learned in that is that I spent so much of my time living for the approval of others, and that relationship was the physical manifestation of exactly that. I was just living for approval. I was doing whatever I could to get that approval, and I was running to the sources that gave me that approval, which was not where I needed to be and not what I needed to be doing. Now, the advice that I would give myself if I could go back, that I would give my daughter when she's older, and that I would give anybody else that's listening, is go live your life. Not go live your life, but go live your life. And each of us has a specific life that we are supposed to live, destined to live. And my recommendation is go live that life and do what you want to do for the right reasons, and go be the person that you're supposed to be. And I think every one of us has had that moment where we've looked in the mirror at one point or another in our adult lives, and we've had to ask ourselves something along the lines of, are we really living the life that we're supposed to live? Are we being the version of ourselves that we're supposed to be? And we all have ebbs and flows, and we go through ups and downs, and I'm not saying anything about that, but we know at the end of the day where we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to be living. And when you find yourself where your life is consumed by the types of things that are external and are full of emotion and full of ego and full of desire and full of all of those things, as opposed to living the life that you're supposed to live, you're going to see a real struggle and a real imbalance. And I spent so much of my 20s, trying to to meet women and trying to be cool and do things and whatever, instead of just doing what I wanted to do, which was go to the gym, watch movies, enjoy eating really good food and hanging out with friends. But I was so worried on trying to capture all of that. I spent so much time doing things for those reasons, to try to get the response, to try to meet the woman, to try to get the accolades, to get the approval, whatever, that everything I was doing was just bass backwards. And my advice to myself, if I could go back then, would be just get rid of all that shit. Do not worry about all that and just go forward living the life you're supposed to live. Because when you do that, all of that stuff will be returned to you in spades. When you're focused on going forward in your life, all of that will come back to you when the time is right. And if I would have spent my 20s educating myself, investing my money, looking forward to the future, I would not have had to worry about whether or not I was cool because I was driving a car I couldn't afford. I could have had 5 cars without even thinking about it. And it wouldn't have meant anything to me now because I would have had the right perspective. So my advice to myself, to my daughter when she's older, to anybody else is listening, is stop living and doing things for the approval of others and go live your life that you're supposed to live. Okay, for this week's Whisper In, I have an Instagram account that I have been following for a few months, but the person who is responsible for this account is someone that I've been following for years. The name of the account is called Houseandhome.design, and the person responsible, the founder and the interior designer and TV host, is Carissa Thompson. And I discovered her about 5 to 7 years ago as a sportscaster and sports host and sideline reporter. And I think she does a great job on all those things. And she's fun. And she is very famous and popular. And she has a podcast with Aaron Andrews called Calm Down, which is really, really popular and does exceedingly well. But she also has this account called Houseandhome.design, where the focus is on interior design for the house. And as I get a little bit older and have a little bit more of an idea of what I would like the design of our house to be and thoughts about that, this account gives a great perspective on really completing the look from A to Z, on filling out your space, whether it's a bedroom or your kitchen or an entryway or decorating for the holidays or whatever it is. So I highly recommend you check out this Instagram account, Houseandhome.design. It has been very helpful and useful for me to look at and get design ideas, and it's super fun to look at. So that is this week's Whisper In. All right, as we do our cool down here to wrap things up, let's recap. First off, I gave you my crazy story about the ex-girlfriend and all the problems that almost caused me long term. The lesson that I learned from that was to stop living for the approval of others and stop doing everything in my life to get some sort of positive feedback reaction. The advice that goes hand in hand with that is for me and for you and for anybody else to go live your life. Not go live your life, but go live your life. We all have a version of ourselves that is the better or best version of ourselves. We all have a version of our life that is available to us. And I'm not talking about riches and all of that stuff. I'm just saying about the kind of person that we want to be. So my advice for myself, for my daughter when she's older, and for anybody else is stop living for that approval for other people. Go live your life. Do the things that you want to do for the pure and right reasons, and you will be amazed at how all of that stuff is returned to you, and you'll have the proper perspective and balance and appreciation for it as that is returned to you in spades. For the sponsor I wish I had, hey, I'm wearing it. This is a bomber jacket by Claim to Fame. It is an amazing bomber jacket. So amazing, in fact, I have 2. And I will probably get a 3rd. I just need to finish up the Christmas list. Highly recommend it. Very lightweight, very breathable, super stylish. I love the look of a bomber jacket and a t-shirt with a nice pair of pants and shoes. I think that's a great look for guys, especially guys that are my age, which is early 40s, that still want to hold on to some form of that youth. So I highly recommend Claim to Fame, the sponsor I wish I had with their bomber jackets. Just the tip segment today was a cooking tip about how to make some sort of a fruit jam or jelly for yourself. And my recommendation is take a set amount of weight of that fruit. So pick an apple or a berry, like a blueberry or a raspberry. And then whatever that amount of weight is, take 30% of that weight and add that amount in sugar. Then add some of your acid like lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. Don't forget to salt. And then stir on medium to medium low heat and let that get the texture that you want it to be. It's going to be super delicious, super flavorful. Bonus just the tip, which I didn't even mention in the actual segment, is to add some fresh herbs in there, add a bay leaf in there, maybe add something like a cinnamon stick or some star anise. You'd be blown away with how awesome that can be. And lastly, for the Whisper In is an Instagram account that I've been following for a few months called Houseandhome.design. It is founded and run by Carissa Thompson, who's a very famous television host for sports on Fox. She used to be a sideline reporter. She's done plenty of sports reporting and everything. She has a really famous podcast with Erin Andrews called, I think it's the Calm Down Podcast, and just seems like a really great person. Really poured, you could see the blood, sweat, and tears into this account. And it's a great account to look at to get inspirational ideas for design. I believe they also can do it for you if you have the ability to do that if you're in the area where they service. But really neat. So if you're looking for some cool design inspo for the house, or just want to look at some really pretty pictures of houses inside and out, check that out, houseandhome.design. So that wraps it up for this week. Thank you very much to everybody for listening. Continue to support this. Remember, I will have weekly blog updates on sidmedia.net and weekly, almost daily videos on our YouTube channel. And thank you very much. We will see you next week on another episode of the Story Lesson Advice Podcast.